Hi everybody, it's Laurencia with See the Good TV. Today we're back with another episode interviewing the owner of Pink Noire, the only Black-owned beauty supply store in Memphis, Tennessee, Miss Chasity Monroe. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to talk to you.
I'm so happy that you're here to talk to me. So I feel honored.
Great. So before we dive into everything, we're going to do a little icebreaker.
Okay.
Get to know each other a little bit.
Okay.
All right, with a little rapid fire question asking you some this or that.
Okay. Uh-oh. All right.
So, lashes or edges, what's more important to you?
Lashes. Because my edges are not right now, but my lashes are.
always. Do you prefer a bonnet or a silk pillowcase?
Silk pillowcase all
really?
day. Yeah, because the bonnets, they fly away. I don't know what happens to them overnight.
Yeah, you wake up.
Yeah, but you know that the pillowcase is going to be there.
Not going anywhere. Natural hair or protective styles?
That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Protective styles.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I have my natural hair now, but the protective styles give you all kind of versatility. You can be a different woman every day.
Every single day.
Yes.
It's not as much time put into it either. Lip gloss or lipstick?
Lipstick.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten into it yet.
I love a good lipstick. That's probably showing my age, but a good, like a red lip. Like the glosses give you a little bit, but that pigment.
Yeah.
I also feel like you can be a different woman with different lipsticks.
For sure. And braids for the summer or a silk press in the winter?
Both.
What?
Yes, because like in the summer I'm definitely gonna get my braids, but in the winter I'm gonna do my silk press. Yeah. But it's like a part of the scheme. It's the larger schedule.
You got a whole routine for it throughout the entire year. You go back and forth.
Because it does get hot in Memphis.
It does.
So
humid as well. Like my hair is poofed up, and I'm like, it's supposed to be cold outside. I flat ironed it, and it's just.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I can dig with those answers. We can go with those. Okay. So just going to get into who you are as a person. So you have ties to Florida. You went to FAMU. You have ties to New York. You went to Columbia. And then you're born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. So with ties to all of these major places, what made you choose Memphis as the stomping grounds for Pink Noire?
So this is a long story that I'm going to make short. But the short version is that I came up with this idea in business school, at a business school class in Columbia. So fine, came up with it. It was an entrepreneurship class. I was like, oh, this is great, but I can't afford to do this in New York right now. And I have a whole different career trajectory, right? So I started my career with Procter & Gamble, though, on a beauty brand, on a hair care brand. So I always had the insights to know that there was a gap in what people really wanted from Black beauty supply stores, period, right? And so that always stuck with me. And so the professor's first question was, well, where do you see an unmet need in your community? And instantly, New York, Ohio, Florida, wherever it's always been this lack of giving us what we really desire in the beauty supply space. So fast forward, maybe a few years later, the pandemic happens. And it was funny, I ended up coming here during the pandemic. So I was living in New York and, it was so crazy in New York. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to come to Memphis for a couple weeks until this COVID thing is over.
Yeah, so we thought.
Right? So life goes on. I'm a salon girl, really, but the salons weren't open. So it was like, all right, I have to do my own hair. And I remember, putting in a GPS, because again, I'm kind of like a tourist here now, right? I bought a property here. We're kind of fixing it up, but we're New Yorkers by all intents and purposes. So it sends me to this beauty supply store. I'm like, oh my God, where am I at? Okay.
What part of the hood is this?
The hood, for sure. But it's like, okay, fine, it doesn't look too bad. It's raining outside, but I have a Zoom call the next day. So I'm like, I have to get some things to look presentable for this Zoom call. Because, Zoom became the way, right? So I'm like, all right, let's go. We go. I'm in there. So it's raining. I get inside. Not only is it raining outside, it's raining inside. Wow. Okay? Leaks. And I'm like seeing the leaks and it's like hitting the product. And I'm like, and there's like probably at least 20 other Black women in here. And we're all looking for the same things, right? So then I see someone next to me who works there. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking for this. Can you help me? Language barrier. And then I realized they're only close to me to ensure that I don't steal. I'm a full professional, right? Like, I'm not going to steal a $5 product. So it was literally that day that I said, this ends here.
Right.
I got to do something about this. And Pink Noire, Memphis became, all right, this is where I'm going to do this in my hometown where I literally have felt this.
Yeah,
you
where
know
it's happening.
Where I know it's happening. And
Wow.
that's really where it came from.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So with that, because you talked a lot about just doing that in business school, but you know, you went to an HBCU.
Yep.
So did going there, you know, to a place that's predominantly Black, did that like influence your love for beauty and hair and all that stuff?
Well, I think more than anything, it influenced my audacity to even be able to do this, right?
Yeah.
So going to, you know, FAMU, you know, we were always told we're the best of the best. We're the best and the brightest.
The illustrious.
Exactly. We're superstars. So I think a lot of people may see these things and like, oh, you know, that's too big. And for me, it was like, I can do this. And I think, you know, obviously the love of, you know, all things Black definitely, you know, was really encouraged through the HBCU. But more than anything, it was the ability to tell myself I can do this because if not me, who really came from HBCU.
Okay. So that kind of gave you that love and inspiration for it. But you're also a mother. So how has motherhood kind of shaped, you know, the entrepreneur in you?
Yeah, and so it's funny. I always say that I had twins because I started Pink Noire. So the short of it is we came here thinking, oh, we're going to leave. And then we got pregnant. And so it's like, oh, wait, okay. So
it's destined to be.
Yes, right? So, and then this is literally at the same time that I've come up with this idea. I've said that I'm going to do it. And so throughout my pregnancy and even having, you know, Charlie's her name, I was working on this business. So it was literally like I had 2 children at the same time. But to answer your question, you know, I definitely view both of them as my babies. And one baby, Charlie, you know, she's a human, and I feel like this is important for legacy, right? This is something that we're going to pass down to Charlie. And, you know, Charlie comes up here now, she'll say beauty supply store, or she'll see my, you know, picture in the window. She's like, Mommy, that's cute. And so I think it means a lot for her to, even at this young age, see her mommy going after something that she feels like is bigger than her. And being able to eventually pass that down to her, I think is really critical.
Those same values are definitely going to be instilled in her, especially from a young age.
Yes.
So looking back, you know, just from the start, what would you say has been like the most rewarding part of opening Pink Noire?
You know what? It's literally been when I see young kids come in here and they're like, oh my God, you own this? You're a Black woman that owns this? Or if I talk to kids in schools, they're like, wait, you have a beauty supply store? And just seeing that, you know, it's like unlocking this thing in them that, oh, I could do that. You know, if she could do it, I can do it. And I think that, to me, is extremely important in establishing, like, just starting that thing and these young people to know this is not far-fetched. This is our, like, it's our industry, and we should be able to do this.
It's for us.
It's for us, and it needs to be by us.
Yes, exactly. So with that, just, you know, Black women, we found solace and we find just so much peace and comfort just being in beauty supply stores. So how do you think your business kind of feeds into being a safe space for Black women?
For sure. So for us, it was all about, you know, we say we stand for 3 things. 1, having amazing brands, highlighting Black-owned brands and our own brand. But 2, you know, customer service. So again, when you go in most beauty supply stores, you don't get that beauty advisor, someone who actually can advise you. So all of our beauty advisors are specially trained. Like, they're trained by top industry folks, and they know about every product that's in here, right? A lot of them are actual cosmetologists. So you're speaking to someone who actually can guide you on what is happening with your hair, how to maintain or how to move toward whatever your goal is. So I think the customer service, the knowledge, all of that in itself creates the safe space. And then you're actually talking to someone that looks like you, that has a very similar hair texture. So you're like, okay, she probably has tried it, or, you know, she has this cosmetology background. And, you know, we have Wine Down Wednesday, Champagne Saturday. So for all intents and purposes, we're trying on wigs, we're kikiing, we're getting, you know, our bubbles. Like, it's a safe space in itself, because as soon as you get in here, you know you're not being judged. You know, we really have folks that you can trust. And more than anything, it's like, you know, this is for us by us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm where I'm supposed to be.
For sure. It's all about that trust and just like a piece of community.
Yes.
You definitely feel that when you're here. So you were talking about, the beauty advisors that can help you with this and that. So what has been like a tip that you learned from working here or owning this business that you learned from like some of your beauty advisors that you didn't even know? What have they put you on to?
So I think there's a lot of things. What I'm always amused by is that there's so much new technology now. However, people will go back to the basics.
Yeah.
Like, they'll use that Blue Magic. So it's funny, like, we never had a lot of those products, but people are like, no, I swear by Blue Magic, or I swear by Pink Lotion, or, whatever it is. And so at the end of the day, I think that, everybody has that thing that works for them. And so I might not necessarily take on whatever that thing is, but I know at the end of the day that's something that might help someone else, right? Yeah. Like, okay, this is the mindset of this person, and then there's going to be at least 5 or 10 other people who have that mindset. So then it helps me be able to know, okay, this is the group of products that this person wants. And ultimately I think that's what really differentiates us, is that we ask questions and we listen.
Yeah, for sure. And just speaking about the products, how do you, obviously you want to go with what's black owned, but there's so many brands to choose from. So how do you go about picking what you're going to have in stock? Is it like just based on popularity, word of mouth? How do you decipher that?
When I first started, at first it was like, okay, there's millions of products. Where do I even start? But my role actually at Procter & Gamble was market research. Okay. So that's innate. Like, so I did do the hard research. Okay, what are like the top selling brands? Like, what even are the product lines within that? And that's where we started. And from there, it was a conversation like, oh, so you don't like this? Why don't you like this? Yeah. Or, you use this. Oh, why is it that? Where do you usually get that from? And so that's how we've been able to kind of build this catalog. But it's literally not only reselling, but you become like a buyer, right? Yeah. So you're like, okay, what are the trends? TikTok is huge, right? Yes. So you got to be on. I'm not a big Listen, I'm an elder millennial, so TikTok is like not in my wheelhouse, but I have to be on it. But then that's when you see people talking about different things, and you see like, okay, this is working, and then people will talk about their hair texture. So I think it's a culmination of like hard research, but also listening to clients and then using like social media and all these other things to really help influence what should be in the store.
Definitely have to stay on top of those trends. Hopefully TikTok don't go nowhere.
I know.
All that we've been learning from them so far. Hopefully.
It has built so much community, right? So even, just seeing what's happening overseas and them being able to see what we're doing here, because I do feel like we're a little bit further along with like the technology and the type of products that we have, and seeing, the demand even from overseas has been like very interesting. Like, we at one point had a larger audience from like places in Africa than we had.
Really? Like your viewership?
Yes, at one point. So that was very interesting for us to see, like, people really are interested in knowing what we're doing here, especially in the Black hair care space, because, even in the UK and other places, they're just not where we are.
Yeah. So. For sure.
Yeah.
I also just wanted to ask, because this is in the 901. So what ways do you kind of incorporate like Memphis's culture into your establishment?
So I think Memphis culture is just even established in my voice, my brand voice, right? So if you're looking at what we're talking about on social media, like our music choice, like all of those things are very, you're going to find some glow, right? Yeah. You're going to find some Dolph. Like, you're going to find, like, even, as we have like our stereo system on, you're going to have that. But then I think in addition, for me, we also have like merch, right? And one of the things that sells the most is, girls from Memphis really are this pretty.
So cute.
Right. So for me, it's just like being a girl from Memphis, being in this environment, like all of this it's nothing but Memphis, right? Even Memphis is the most beautiful land in the world, right? So we absolutely, I think it just spills, from being in the center of the city, being Black women, because we have an all Black women staff. Like, it's nothing but Memphis. And we are very proud of that. And, we have a Memphis attitude as well,
For sure.
So
For sure.
That's it.
And just going back to, we talked about beauty supply industries, they're not really ran by people who are Black people, Black women at all. So what challenges did you face when trying to put this all together, being that you don't fit that demographic?
Yeah, many, and still. So I think, even I think one of the most interesting things was going to our trade shows. So, you have the shows like Bronner, which are more so for like stylists, but then you have trade shows for people who are actually resellers or retailers in the industry. And so even our registrations are in Korean. So I have to use a little Google Translate, all of the signs are Korean, but then you see the promo and it's all Black faces, right? So, I remember like the first time I went, having my credential and someone asking me, what are you, like a manager or something? And I was like, no, I actually own a store. And they literally picked up my credential.
Your name?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, like to make sure that like that was really what it was, right? So it's often this disbelief that a Black woman, and it shows, because when I'm there, I can count on one hand how many other people look like me, right? And I think in addition, there has been some discrimination in terms of vendors being able to get certain products, which makes it hard. So if I don't have this type of product, right, and it is Korean owned, but it legitimizes you as a beauty supply store, but they're then saying, okay, for you to get this product, we're going to charge you 3 times more.
Wow.
On top of being a small business. And this has happened multiple times, right?
That's
but
crazy.
I think the great thing about social media is that there are networks of Black beauty supply store owners. So we talk and we're like, well, no, my minimum was this. Oh, no, mine was this. So I'm like, I now have tools to, just be able to counteract it. Now, and all vendors are not like that.
Yeah.
But we have a long way to go before we can get to a place of where I think there's equity even on that front. And being a smaller business anyway, you're fighting against, businesses that have been retailers for decades. So then they can buy more, right? So they can get those cheaper prices, even if it weren't for the discrimination. So I think it's been multifold, but I'm a fighter. You're not going to just get me out. Like,
more than that.
It's going to take more than that. And sometimes you get creative, and sometimes you just use all of your resources to get what it is that you want. And there's still like some brands that simply just won't sell to me, but that's okay.
That's crazy.
But we'll get past it.
Still gonna make it out.
Still gonna make it.
That's crazy. So when I just think about just a Black woman, an entrepreneur in beauty, in hair, whatever, I think about Madam C.J. Walker because she's such a pioneer. So are there any other like figures, important women that you look up to, that you find that inspiration from? How have they kind of guided your journey?
Gosh, for one, I think just there's so many women in my family, that just looking at not necessarily women in beauty, but just the resilience of women, my mother, my grandmother, just seeing them do things that were, like just crazy and bizarre for their time. Like my grandmother worked for NASA, right?
What?
Like she went to college, but she was picking cotton on, in the summers, but she made it to like that type of status. So for me, it's like, even though this seems so hard or so, like such a dream, it's like, it's not, because I've seen other people do this type of thing. But, when you talk about Madam C.J. Walker, to me, her making it so much bigger than beauty, right? Her being able to give people like a legitimate Black women, a legitimate way to make money, to empower communities. Her being a philanthropist, her, like giving to a lot of, like the civil rights causes. Those types of things are the things that, really propel me in this business, because it's bigger than beauty. It's bigger than beauty. Yeah.
So just got done talking about a Black woman. So what advice do you have for Black women that want to, bust into this industry, and how do you just motivate them to continue to be steadfast through all of these challenges that you've had to undergo? I
think it's building community and being vulnerable. I think as Black women, a lot of times it's like, oh, we have to be strong. We have to show that nothing gets us down. But having a community, seeking mentorship, seeking a community of other entrepreneurs that do this type of thing. But even just being very, strategy focused. Like for us, we are a reseller of products, but we also have our own 8-product hair care line, right? And so then we also sell our own raw Indian hair extensions. And so, now we're offering services. So, being very strategic about diversifying even within the business, because at any one given time, something might be popping and something might not. So, really just going at this from like a very, like I said, strategic, writing it out, the Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. Like that is important for us, to just make sure that we're diversifying, even if we have a goal, we're building that community, and more than anything, we're just doing it. Like, do it. Just do it, whether it's perfect or not. My husband likes to say that, perfection is the enemy of good. So it's just actually getting out and doing it and, figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, so I'm very big on doing it scared, because even if you do it with confidence, even if you do it scared, it still has to get done.
It does.
So are you going to let your fear of the unknown stop you from going, or are you just going to do it? I live by that.
And the truth is, you might feel like you're like horrible, but you're probably 10 times better than the person out here that's like really excelling, right? And I think as Black women, we are naturally just gifted. And so sometimes we let the weight of the world stop us from doing things because we don't think it's perfect. But whatever you already have is 9 times out of 10 literally better than the competition.
From the start, we're the originators, we're the blueprint. And I feel like you really never know who's watching you. You really never know who's just looking up to you. And like, I have people that text me all the time and they're like, you don't know it, but like, I'm rooting for you. I want you to keep going. So it's we really have to, big ups ourselves for sure.
Absolutely.
So I want to know, like, what other ventures do you have, or what's next? Is there gonna be a Pink Noire New York, Pink Noire?
Yes. So it's funny. So we always say like Pink Noire Memphis, because we always said that this would not be our only stop, right? So our ultimate goal is we're going to definitely have a few more. We won't say where, but we're working on that. But I think our biggest opportunities also is our online business. So now we're on Amazon, and we've legitimately sold out of 3 products on Amazon. Yeah, and this has been within a very short period of time, within the last month. So we're seeing greatness within our own hair care brand. So really hyping that up. Our own raw extensions, hair extension line. That's also, we have a campaign this week. So we're just looking. So there's just so many things. I think I joke with my husband that we have like 4 or 5 businesses within one business. So it's like constant, even though we have a physical storefront, we've started the spa services. So now we're offering facials and waxing and things of that nature. But the end all be all is that Pink Noire will be a franchise model. For sure. And we want to be able to share this with our community. And I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes. And I want this to be a gift that, I'm able to give to the community so that we can reclaim our time, reclaim our industry, and, we can just have more of us in this space that is actually about us.
That's amazing. I'm looking forward to that. I can definitely see the vision for sure. My last and final question for you is, what would your younger self say if she was to walk through the doors of Pink Noire right now?
Oh my goodness. Like, my younger self would not be able to even believe it. I think because growing up, it was just like the norm was to see people that didn't look like me owning this type of space, and then to have this luxury feel to it. I would be shocked. Like, girl, where did you even get this from? So my younger self would absolutely be awed, inspired, motivated. And I have to keep reminding myself of that.
For sure.
Yeah, she would be excited and she would be like, go girl.
I remember why you started, and you just speaking about the luxurious feel of this. It just, when I walked in, I was like, oh my goodness. Like, it does not feel like You know, we got the regular beauty supply stores on every corner, and they just have the same feel, like supermarket, whatever. But coming in here, just like feels like you step into another dimension. So I really love just the entire look, the vibe that you're going for. You definitely
Black women deserve it, and that's what we stand on. Like, we should feel valued, we should feel loved, and we should feel like when we're shopping for beauty, we're in a beautiful environment, and that's what Pink Noire is.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming and sitting down with us. You can tell everybody where they can follow you.
Yep. So we have pinknoire.com, pinknoire.com. All of our brands are on there, but also we have Instagram, pink, pink__NOIRE. That's the same for TikTok, pink_NOIRE. We're on YouTube. We're on Pinterest. Like, it's the same tag all the way around. But if you want to immediately contact us, pinknoire.com is where you can do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so excited for this. Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm Laurencia Gross, and this is See the Good TV. See you next time.